just like, what? Like, there's... Okay. All right. I think I am just getting kicked out of this. I don't know what's going on. I am just going to go for it and see if this works because some people are seeing this screen. So I apologize. I am so sorry for the delay. I just keep getting feedback on mine. It just keeps giving me, so I'm going to do the best I can so that I don't waste anyone else's time. And again, all right. I apologize for that. I am just getting kicked out of this. I don't know what's going on. I just keep getting volume so I apologize. Back to me, which is kind of throwing me off. So anyway, my name is Kate Hunter, and I am an Etsy seller. I've been selling on Etsy since 2016. My shop is called Hazel Bee, and I have benefited quite a lot from being an Etsy seller, and Etsy came to me when they started this program in 2019 and asked me if I would be interested in educating other sellers, and I love it. I am the head of a team here in New Brunswick. I get to do online markets and in-person markets with other sellers, and also get to share a lot of my knowledge of being a seller here. During the pandemic, I was featured in the Etsy X A Beautiful Mess collection, where it saw a huge amount of growth, a huge amount of publicity, and so that was just from being found on Etsy. And this is probably my favorite subject to teach in this workshop is Etsy search, so that I can help others get found and have the opportunities that I have had. So I'm just going to flip over and check to see if that sound is okay because I'm getting the feedback before we dive right in. If you want to grab a glass of water, grab a pen and paper, and we will dive right in. So just 1 second. This is probably my favorite subject to teach in this workshop is Etsy search, so that I can help others get found and have the opportunities that I have had. So I'm just going to flip over and check to see if that sound is okay. Okay. I'm getting the feedback. I only have one YouTube tab open, so I'm not understanding what is going on. And I only have one YouTube tab open, so I'm not understanding what is going on. And I apologize so much for this. It always seems to be like this. Murphy's Law. Okay, I'm not getting it, so I'm going to dive right back in here. So today we are going to look at optimizing Etsy search and how Etsy search works. So let's get to it. So we're going to look at two things today, and we're going to dive into how Etsy search works and how you can optimize your listings with your keywords to better be seen and be found. And honestly, if we look at Etsy as though it's Google for handmade, how many people are shopping on Etsy? And just at the latest stats that I looked up this morning, there's 40 million people buying on Etsy. So that's a lot of people. And Etsy's goal at the end of the day is always going to be to make money. So their goal, though, is to put the right products in front of people so that they get the right search first off. And so the point of this lesson today is going to be how can you get in front of the right buyers, what keywords, where you can put your keywords, and what you can do to be seen and found. So just an important note before we get started, Etsy's always changing and they're doing that for the better. So what we're going to cover is current best practices, and I just advise you to take this information and apply it today, but always be aware that Etsy is making improvements and changes, and keep your eye on the seller handbook. Another really great resource is the Etsy Success podcast for all the current and up-to-date information. But like I said, Etsy wants to get your product seen. And so they're going to be always looking for the best practices. So this isn't to throw anybody off or screw anybody over. It's just that you need to be, as a seller, on top of these best practices. So Etsy Search is a really powerful tool designed to match buyers with the items they're looking for, making it easy for them to purchase. There are 2 phases in how this works. That's query matching and ranking. And in this presentation, we're going to go over how Etsy's search works and how to tips to improve your visibility. So when a buyer enters a search query on Etsy, the system looks at the keywords that you've added into your listings to find a match. So what are keywords and where do you add them? And in the second half of this presentation, we are going to go into some really great tools for where to find and brainstorm your keywords and where to put them in your listings to give you that best findability. So people shop on Etsy because they know that they're going to find something special. They're going to find something different, something personalized, something that they're not going to find going to Walmart and the Target. And there is this meaning and personal connection with shopping on Etsy. And what they do is they type in a few words in their search bar and they're matched with these amazingly unique products. And the keywords that you add to your listing are an essential tool for matching your listings to those searches. So you can add your keywords into your listing titles, into your tags, in your categories and subcategories, and into your listing attributes. And Etsy has just announced that they are now searching through listing descriptions. So we're going to go in also on the second hand of this presentation in where to put your keywords and how to write really great listing descriptions to get you found in that search query. And your ranking. So once we've gathered the listing and that match a buyer's query, we use that information that we have about each listing to shop and rank the listing so people are browsing Etsy, see the items that they're most likely to purchase earlier in the results. That comes to people individually. And I remember when I first got on Etsy, it was really important to be found in the first or second page of listings because for any category or any search query. And now that's changed, that we can track people's spending habits and what they're looking for. So these types of rankings put you in front of buyers who are most likely to make that purchase if you match really well together. So here's some factors that go into the Etsy search ranking. So your relevancy, Etsy is going to make sure that you use your keywords. Just because a keyword is trending or a hashtag is trending doesn't mean that you should use it. You need to use keywords that describe your product, or Etsy's going to take it as spam. So you want to make sure that your keywords are relevant to the search. Translations and language. I live in New Brunswick, Canada, and we have a bilingual province. So this question comes up a lot for us. A lot of times it has been said to use different words to describe an item, such as a chapeau or hat or toque or beanie. Go with what is native to you, what sounds good to you, unless you are bilingual in 2 or more languages. Because when you use translations for an item, Etsy search will often pick it up as spam. So, you want to make sure that you are doing what feels natural and not so much like a bot. So your listing quality score. So I'm just going to, your listing quality score is how well you come up in searches in general, how long people tend to stay on your page when they're searching for you. So if you have really great photos, it's important to use your 10 photos so that people click through and spend more time. It's nothing wrong with having 3 photos versus 10 photos, but having 3 photos means people will spend more time clicking through. Will spend more time going through your listing descriptions. If you have really clear, concise, easy to read descriptions, the recency of your listing, and I know oftentimes it's said to kind of refresh those listings once they've been, I know some people do it often, some people do it once it sells, but your listing's recency, or when it's been listed, gets a little bit of a bump when it's new on Etsy, and therefore it gets shown because Etsy wants to see how well that new listing does. They're going to give it a little more chance, a little more time spent at the top of the search. So how often you are adding new listings, how often you are refreshing, and I say refreshing. Some people do like to refresh a listing just to give it that bump, but it's even better for a listing score when it's being sold. So how often one listing is being sold over and over if you sell multiples of a certain item. Also, your customer market experience. How your reviews are is going to give you a really big boost in your sales, in your searchability. How people have what they've said about you, how quickly, and we know this with the Star Seller program, how quickly you get back to customers within that 24 period is more than likely that they are going to purchase from you. Another thing is that you have your shop policies in order, that you have your about section. When you go to a page that is really concise, really thought out, buyers know that you have spent time in your shop policies, describing your shipping process and your shipping prices. All of those things gives buyers that trustability. That in turn tells Etsy that you are a reputable shop, and they are going to give you those rankings over a shop that doesn't necessarily have those. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you are a bad shop, but having all of that information and giving your customers a really great experience is really helpful to help you be found by more customers. Your shipping price. Now, I am Canadian, and so I actually struggle with this one because shipping prices are so high. In Canada, I find with a lot of my customers, Canadians are used to paying high shipping costs for tracked items. It's about $17 to $23 for me to ship my items tracked. That is not a price that I can sink into my items. It just doesn't work out. So you need to know your customer base and kind of what they expect from you with shipping prices. A lot of people do free shipping and are able to put that shipping price into their items and ship for free. A lot of people are able to ship letter mail, which we'll get into in a little bit with Star Seller. Isn't always great, but you have to do what works best for you in your shop. And also, just lastly, shoppers' habits and how they shop you. Etsy may put you, if you sell predominantly customized items at Christmas with ornaments and teacher gifts, and show your ranking when shoppers are more apt to be shopping specifically for your item. So your listing quality. So once your query matching concludes, it's time for ranking to determine a listing's placement in Etsy search results. A variety of factors come into play. Listing quality, or how well a listing performs in search query, is also known as a listing's conversion rate. Listing quality looks at how well a listing converts, how many people view it, and then take action such as favoriting it, adding it to their cart, or purchasing it to determine whether shoppers are interested in that item. When a buyer clicks on it or engages with your listing from search, that listing may rank higher in search results for that query. So once a query matching concludes, it's time for ranking to determine the listing's placement on Etsy search results. A variety of factors come into play. The listing quality and how well the listing performs in the search is also known as, I'm just reading again. So think about what might influence you to make a purchase after discovering a listing. Do you carefully review it for more information? Do you look at the seller's shop holistically before you make a decision? Optimizing your listings with conversion in mind is one step you can take to improve your search ranking and your shop's visibility. So think like a buyer. Think about what your buyers are looking for and what they're searching. And I think as sellers, this can be really, really difficult because we have such a connection to our listings, and we know all of the ins and outs. We know the finite details. We know the heart and soul and the planning and everything that's gone into this listing. And for someone to be able to find it and someone else to connect it, to that listing, we have to put ourselves in their shoes and make our listings as findable as possible. So we're going to cover how to do that with keywords and creating listings that convert, and how great customer service can impact your visibility. So during query matching, your keywords are scanned for matches. And once the system has gathered all the eligible listings, they use the information about each listing and the shop's rankings to rank the listings. One important factor to consider during ranking is the listing's relevancy. And in this case, relevancy means how close of a match your keywords are and what a buyer typed into the search is. So when a customer enters the search on Etsy, the search algorithm looks at listing titles, tags, categories, and attributes to find the matching keywords. Your titles and tags are the most important terms in terms of weight. Additionally, categories and attributes are structure that you select from what Etsy gives you. So that's kind of like free tags. And rather than you create them yourself. So Etsy's giving you those filters when you put through to kind of weed through what is most relevant. So your titles and your tags are really the place that you need to get the most descriptive. And now with Etsy changing things, this also is your listing description, is where you can put those keywords as well. And so when you're working on your listing titles and tags and your descriptions, think about what a buyer would type into the search bar when they're shopping for an item like yours. Using those words and phrases will help you and the relevancy of your listings. So basically, you have created this beautiful product, like I said, and you want to name it something that's really meaningful to you. I did this when I first started, and I named all of my items, had little anchors on them, and they were baby sets, and I called them the Ahoy Baby set, and I had 0 searches on those terms because nobody is searching for something that is so personable to me that I've created. They want to look at baby gifts. They want to look at anchor motifs, nautical theme shower, things like that is what they're searching. So you've really got to get your head out of being that creative person for a bit and think simply as your buyer and what they're going to search for to get them the best bang for their searchability. Categories and attributes also serve as listing keywords. Thus, using them can help you appear in even more searches. Additionally, they play a distinctive role in powering category-specific filters that connect relevant listings to relevant shoppers. Collecting this structured data across millions and millions of listings helps provide a better search and a browse experience for buyers and typically results in more visuals and ultimately more sales. So by doing this, Etsy is hoping that by filtering down and showing buyers exactly what they want, they'll be less overwhelmed by the millions and millions of searches out there and millions of items, and will be shown exactly what they're looking for. So it's our job as sellers to get out in front with these keywords, these titles, tags, and listing descriptions, and show the buyers a really clear and concise product and get them to pull the trigger. So the keywords that you use in your tags, titles, and listing descriptions, categories, and attributes work together to match your listings with a shopper's search. When there's a match to a search query, your items have the potential to appear in the search results. People shop on Etsy because they know they're going to find something special, and they type in a few words in the search bar and are matched with a unique product. The keywords you add to your listings are an essential tool for matching your listings to those searches. Etsy Search is designed to help shoppers find what they're looking for and to inspire them to click Add to Cart. So where are we going to put these keywords? We're going to put them in our categories, our attributes, titles, listings, descriptions, and our tags. Categories act like tags. Be sure to add the most specific options available for the item in your listing. Adding more specific categories will give you the opportunity to match with search. Remember, when you add specific subcategories, your listings and your items are all included in the categories that subcategories are nestled within. Since categories act like tags, you don't need to add tags for repeat phrases that appear in your categories and attributes. So for example, if you, like I say, sell hats or I sell crochet items, so I'm going to put things in hats, in scarves, in baby blankets, in baby shoes. I'm not going to add hats as one of my tags. I'm going to use I'm going to save hat when I make these categories and be able to use 13 other descriptive words. So for example, if you have a listing for nail stencils in the nail stencil category, your listing could appear in results for nail stencils searches. Adding nail stencils also means your listing appears in the categories above it, including craft supplies and makeup and cosmetics. So in your attributes, the attributes are the extra details that you can add about your listings after choosing a category. Some are more general, such as color and material, while others are specific to the category you choose, such as pattern for clothing or room for home decor. Since each attribute you add acts like a tag and helps you match with a shopper's searches when you use matching terms, it's important to add all the relevant options, even if they're less precise. While you might use a word like magenta to describe the yarn you're using, pink is also an accurate description, so putting those in your attribute colors. You might describe the pattern on your t-shirt as nature inspired, but don't miss the opportunity to add plants and trees pattern attribute. Once you've added all the attributes that could describe your item, you can use your listing description, titles, and tags to describe it in your own terms. You don't need to add tags that are exact matches for attributes. You've already added those. For example, if you add faux fur attribute to your rug listing, you don't need to use faux fur as one of your standalone tags. And you can still add it to your multi-word description tag, so your long tail keywords, such as faux fur accent rug. So keywords in your titles, keywords in your title can help you match with a shopper query, but they're just one of the factors Etsy Search looks at. Etsy Search looks at all the information you add, including your categories and attributes, to find keywords that match a shopper's search. Focus on writing clear, concise, descriptive titles that make it easy for shoppers who are scanning a busy search results page to see what you're selling. So you know that when you put in your Etsy search, when you're buying yourself, you're only going to get that first 3 to 6 words of a listing description. So you want to make that as clear and concise, because that may be the few words that gets your buyer to click on your listing. So adding a whole bunch of one word with colons or semicolons or, forward slashes will often make your titles look spammy, especially if you've only got those 4 to 6 words that are visible in your description. Also, just on a side note, when Google is searching for listings, they don't want spammy looking listing titles to come up in Google Shopping. So Google will often just weed out those listing titles with the colons and the forward slash. They want clear, concise. It doesn't necessarily have to be a sentence, but descriptive to what it is. And the best way to break up your words and phrases is with a comma rather than any other punctuation. That just looks more clean and put together. So you want to lead with the keywords that best describe your item. And since that's what shoppers want to see first when they're browsing, especially when they're on their phones, and we know that so many buyers are shopping on their phones nowadays. And so making that look really good, really clear, concise. And I oftentimes will make my shotgun purchases on my phone when I've seen that. So this is a really important thing to consider. Where the phrase is used in your title doesn't affect the listing's ranking, you can use, like I said, punctuations and just punctuations like commas in your titles to separate the phrases, just to make sure that Etsy and Google can find it. But again, you want to make them clear and concise, because adding long lists of keywords to your titles may confuse buyers or turn them off of your listings, because it does look spammy. It looks like you're haven't thought this out well, even though you have and you've kept these keywords and you've written these out. You want to make everything as clear and concise. And if people are shopping on Google, you're more apt to find like bloggers and influencers who are going to use your listings. Etsy has influencer program where they do pay, like Amazon. So influencers want to use clear and concise listings because that will look best on their website and their blogs to sell. So that's just another thing to think about. And your listing descriptions. Etsy Search considers keywords and phrases within your listing descriptions when ranking your listings. The keywords you use across your listing titles, descriptions, tags, categories, and attributes are essential when it comes to query matching, the first phase of search ranking within Etsy Search algorithm. Some tips for writing listing descriptions: aim to incorporate relevant keywords in the first few sentences of your listing description. Avoid copying your title verbatim or simply listing your top keywords. Instead, you want to craft a sentence or two that casually incorporates a few of your top keywords in a way that sounds human and written in your brand's voice. Continue to include important information that will help buyer best understand your product. And your tags. Your tags are your opportunity to include 13 phrases that describe your unique product. Each tag you add is a chance to match with the shopper's search, so spread them around and add some variety. Here is some tagging do's and don'ts. All right, so we skipped ahead. So some tagging do's and don'ts. If you want to screenshot this, make sure you use all 13 tags. Each tag you add is an opportunity to be matched with a shopper's search. Use multi-word phrases. Do consult your shop stats, and we're going to look at your shop stats in a little bit, but see what shoppers are, what's bringing shoppers to your shop. What other people, what the most searched items that have brought people in, and focus on those. Create keywords around those. And I'm going to show you some tools that you can use, and they're free, to help you generate those tags and those keywords. Consider synonyms and regional phrases. Like I said, what works for you? I know, is it a jumper in the UK is a cardigan in Canada. So use what's natural to you. You don't have to figure all of that out on your own. Etsy will make those differentiate between those things and bring the shoppers to you. And do use long tail keywords. Don't use words like blue or round or soft. Make it as descriptive as you can. Round, blue, soft, and you can only use 20 characters. So make sure that you have a long, I know this is probably sounds a little bit counterproductive, but you want to use descriptive words that you can double up on. So if you're using gift for new mom, instead of gift and then baby, or, you're wanting to use that kind of stuff to describe your items, that you can double up on those tags and get more keywords out of. And some don'ts. Don't repeat your tag. Etsy won't even let you repeat your tag. So just, you don't want to double up on those. Don't repeat the categories and attributes. And we just talked about that. If the category is pink in the colors, then you don't need to add, you can add a more descriptive word like magenta, or magenta hat, magenta belt, pink, adding like that. Don't just use that same because you've already canceled that out and used that attribute. Don't include misspellings. This, I know, is kind of a myth that Etsy doesn't pick up on misspellings, and people often spell these types of keywords wrong. And that was really popular when I first started selling on Etsy, that you spelled things wrong on purpose. Etsy can pick that up. There's spell check, there's, Google Translate, all of those things. So it just looks spammy when you spell things wrong. So just don't do it on purpose and waste that tag. Don't add tags in multiple languages. And like I said before, you can if you are fluent in multiple languages, but don't look things up and use Google Translate, because Etsy picks up that you've used Google Translate. And again, it looks spammy, where if you're writing in your own fluent tongue, it looks natural and in your brand's voice. And don't worry about adding plurals. Etsy picks that up. They know too, if you've put in your attributes and your categories, all of those things, people, you don't have to add hat and hats. Etsy is, a very, very smart technology and website. So you don't have to worry about wasting your tags on things like that. So we're going to go back to how to write your listing descriptions, because this is what Etsy has just implemented, that I think is a game changer, because I think people have often not put so much weight into the listing descriptions and not put those keywords in because it didn't matter, because Etsy didn't scour them. But now with Google and with influencers and all these other people picking up at your listings, the keywords are important, and having those keywords in there also gets your buyer to read those listing descriptions more, and they're engaging, and they're just a really great way to be creative and give your brand's voice. It's the most important information about your item. So create a pyramid and put the most important information about your item at the first of your description. Shoppers want to see details of your items as soon as possible. both on and off site on Etsy. So like I said, with Google or in blogs, and they can use that. Consider keywords and phrases within your listing descriptions when ranking your listings. So, you want to have all of that. Another thing is, like I said, we do sometimes have trouble as buyers. I know myself not completely reading all of the listing description. So having those most important things and those keywords first, and having your listing description being top heavy is really, really important. And it's also going to help you have those keywords. And if Etsy is just scanning, the first paragraph of your listing, it's important you have those keywords there for searchability. Short paragraphs and bullet points are your friends. Visitors to your shop might be looking for a specific size of material, so make it easy for them to glean that info from your descriptions by cutting out superfluous language and making good use of bullet points. Think about your descriptions as a way to answer your buyers' questions, prioritizing important information that will help buyers best understand your product. I think the best example I've seen of doing bullet points in a listing description is I've seen digital sellers. I don't know if there's any digital sellers on here today, but giving bullet points on how to download, how to print, where you can best print, best sizes, things like that, and have it all very clear and concise in bullet points has made me buy listings over other shops or other listings, not because necessarily a product is better than the other, but because I just understand, here's the instructions, here's what I do, here's what it is, how it's going to look. I know that, and I can do it really quick because I do buy for another business a lot of print material online. And so I don't have time to go through and figure this out. When that's all there, really clear and concise to me, then I know I'm gonna take that over something, and it has nothing that maybe necessarily to do with the listing itself, the item itself, other than I best understand that listing description. You want to keep an eye on your shop stats. You can see how your shop's performing, where traffic is coming from, and how shoppers are engaging with your listings. And use this information in shop stats to create a running list of top search terms people have used to find your listings, and try to write your keywords based off of your shop stats. Just keep a notebook with even like monthly or bi-monthly, and see how people have found you. This will also help you to find where to best put your resources in regards to social media. So if you're getting more of your customers out of Pinterest and Instagram, then it'll show you to focus on Pinterest rather than Instagram, to really beef up those listings and to see where they're coming. And you can write those listing descriptions into your Pinterest stats or into your Instagram, and just keep using those keywords over and over and over again to help you get found. And there's so many different ways to be found. And you just got to concentrate on what best works for you. Make sure that you also maintain a consistent brand voice. Your listing descriptions are another important touch point of your shop's brand. By using a language that's both informative and reflective of your brand's personality, you have the chance to capture the hearts in ways that visuals alone can't do. So, this is really important, and we're going to go in a little bit, but adding your shop's about section, why you do what you do, how, and having that, but also having that reflected in your listing descriptions as to why you created a product, what problem it is solving, why you've used specific materials in what you're making, reflects your brand, reflects that trust that buyers have with you. The more they read, the more they want to stay on your store. The more they read about this, the more they connect with your brand, the more they're staying on your page, the higher your ranking is going up in Etsy because they're spending time with you. When you're not just kind of all over the place with what you're selling and what your items are and what materials you're using. Make sure your writing is consistent and creating that trustability and that engagement with your buyer. Ending with a link. And this is a really, really important thing to be adding to all your listings. And it's so easy. Just link another listing. Link another color or another size. If you sell finished products and digital downloads, well, maybe somebody wants to make your item themselves. Link the listing to the digital download if you have a physical product. And if someone doesn't want to make it yourself, well, and they found you through your digital product, well, here's the link, or through your digital download, here's the link to my physical product. This keeps people on your page longer. It keeps people clicking around, finding more things, getting down a rabbit hole. We all do it on social media. We need to be using Etsy like this. So it's really important to add other listings into your listing description so that it keeps people engaged with you. And the more, like we said, the more time people spend in your shop, the higher your ranking goes. The more products you're putting in front of them by discovery through these listing links, the more favorites, the more adds to cart. It's just really beefing up, and it's such a simple thing to do. You could do that with every listing right now without changing, with all of the other things I tell you today. This is the one thing I would say is the easiest thing to change. Copy and paste, go through, and it's just something super, super simple. So how do you find your keywords? It's important to use all of those 13 tags, like we said, and avoid repeating phrases. Think about what makes your product unique and how shoppers might search for those items. You might have to be creative and come up with phrases that are 20 characters or less. If the keyword phrase you want to target is longer than 20 characters, adding multiple phrasal tags containing those terms can still help you match with those searches. So for example, let's say your target customer is looking for a minimalist diamond engagement ring. That's very descriptive search. That's way more than 20 characters. So break that phrase into multiple phrasal chunks that a shopper might use in search, such as minimalist jewelry and diamond ring and engagement ring. These phrases are more descriptive than breaking up the keywords into single words like minimalist or ring, but still contain all the terms that might appear in your target customer search. Descriptive tags that clearly and accurately describe what your products are is a great place to start, but there are lots of different tags you can try. So be descriptive. The categories you add to your listing should describe what your product is, but adding few descriptive tags let you describe your product in your own words. Remember, multi-word phrases are better than individual descriptive words. Example, a 1920s cat brooch, a reusable straw pouch or striped ceramic mug, or set of 4 coasters. Your materials and technique. You're the expert in your product. Add the tags that highlight how it's made or what's unique about it. If you sell personalized or custom-made items, be sure to add some tag phrases that contain those words. Get specific and describe the techniques or methods you use. For example, hammered cuff, custom embroidery, reclaimed wood frame, personalized tumbler. Who it's for. Give shoppers who are shopping for a gift but need inspiration some ideas with tags that describe who a product might be great for. For example, gifts for your boyfriend, gifts for a newlywed, gifts for a new mom, teacher gifts, and doing that with the occasions, which we're going to talk about next. Changing up your tags. So in April, May, start adding teacher gifts to some of your tags because that's when people are going to be searching for those gifts most, but you're not going to add those probably in February. So even refreshing your tags every few months to go with seasonal. So like we're going to say, shopping occasions, put yourself in the shoes of a shopper who's looking for the perfect gift to celebrate one of life's milestones. Imagine yourself as a host looking to make an event extra special. What kind of phrases would they be searching for? What would be the relevant products? Occasion attributes should be used to describe listings that are made for a certain occasion. So Christmas attribute is great for Christmas stockings and ornaments. Adding occasion-based tags to your listings is a way you can reach shoppers looking for items that might be appropriate for an occasion, but not designed specifically for it. For example, first anniversary, christening gifts, stocking stuffers, a bachelorette party, an animal-themed party. So use the attributes that you can when you can, but also adding those tags in if they aren't put in the attributes. For Christmas attributes won't necessarily, they will show Christmas theme when you're putting those in the filter for Etsy. So if you've put it in the Christmas attributes, I would use things like stocking stuffer, hostess gift, things like that. Make sure that they're solution oriented. Maybe your product solves a problem for a need for a shopper, making their life a little bit easier, helping them feel like an awesome gift giver, parent, friend. Imagine how a shopper looking for a solution to their problem might search for it. Like a closet organizer, workout headbands, lunchbox decal, indoor garden. So make sure that, adding those things to your listings is like, that's me on Etsy. That's what I'm going for, is something unique. I want to be the person that gives the neatest, most personalized wedding shower gift. So that is a solution for me, is going on Etsy and be able to find the perfect gift for newlyweds. Your style. A shopper's personal style and aesthetic informs their purchase decisions. We all want to feel like the things we buy showcase our great taste to the world. Use tags that describes the unique style of your product so shoppers who know what they're looking for can find them. Think about the time period, palette or aesthetic that matches your product, and combine that with the word that describes your product. And it's created into a multi-word phrase. Think Art Deco lamp, minimalist ring, rustic wall decor, typography print, and size. For some products and for some shoppers, scale is key. Try adding tags that describe the size and shape of your product to reach the shoppers looking for the right fit. Shallow basket, large beach bag, toddler pants, tiny gold hoops. Those are exactly, what people are looking for size-wise. So make sure that you do have that descriptive tag in there for what it is, because more often than not, people are putting those types of size and color into their search. So where can you find these keywords? Pinterest search is a really great way. There's so many cool things that you can just type in, like so many cool ways to use Pinterest. You can just type in Pinterest search and it will auto-populate what people are searching for in the category that you are searching. Just keep a list of those. Keep a notebook. Find what works for you. Refer back to your stats after a month or two and see what's working. See what else is trending on Pinterest. eRank is a really great free, there's a paid version and a free version. I personally use the free version. There is a keyword generator. So you can put in any type of keyword you want to use and they will create like a word wall of keywords, but they'll also tell you what types of words people are searching for now. And in that list, if there's way too many people searching for that, you'll never be found. If there's nobody searching for it and there's no point in even using that. So it's good to look at both ends of that spectrum to see so many people looking for it. You're just kind of in an ocean of that word, or if there's nobody. So just be cognizant of that. Marmalade is another great tool. I don't use it because I use eRank and I find using them simultaneously together doesn't work. Sometimes they conflict. So it's just personal preference. Use what you think works best for you. Google search is the same. Start typing in something that relates to your product in keywords and Google will automatically auto-populate those keywords for you. And you can see what other people are searching for. Etsy search, same thing. Really great way to find keywords. And you can also go down to your own listings or an editor's picks when you click on a listing, and it'll show you when you bring something up what people are looking for and what these are exactly some of the search terms that they've used to find this and to find you. So you can go into your competitions or a similar shop and see what they're using for keywords and brainstorm off of that. So you want to increase your conversion rate, like we said earlier. So to increase your conversion rate, use click-worthy photos that show your product off in the best possible light. I know kind of photos are, the first photo is what gets that initial click. The rest of your listing gets the buy. The rest of your photos get the add to cart. So like I said, the more time that people spend in your shop, even if people just like your pictures or inspired by your work and favorite it, that gives you a boost in that conversion rate in your ranking. Having this sizability, creating that trust, like we said, with the customer, of knowing the size, showing any imperfections. If you're a vintage seller, having all of the details in your photos, that's what's going to get your buyer. It's going to get that trust. It's going to get the need for your product, and it's going to get them staying there and clicking through. Like we said, write short but informative listing descriptions. Bullet point are best, and keep your keywords at the top because that's what's going to be scanned the most. Communicate your processing times. This time of year, I think, it's kind of a lull for a lot of sellers. So it's really easy to have a shorter window for processing times. But when we get into the holiday season, it's really okay to have longer processing times as long as you let your customers know that it's going to take you 2 weeks to design and make and ship out their items. Having that in your shipping policies, having, all of that, even putting those in your shop photos when you're getting your processing times have extended, when you're getting busy, gives you that communication and creates that sense of trust with your buyer. Offer free and competitive shipping. Like I said, I'm Canadian, so this one's a really hard one for me because I think shipping is something that we have to do what works best for us. And sometimes offering free shipping for people means you lose your shirt, and that's not what being a shop is all about. So yes, there are people that search free shipping, but if you have your customer target base, it's you know your customers best and you know what they're willing to pay. Make sure you fill out those shop policies. This can save you if there's ever a dispute, if there's ever, anyone comes back at you and says, I want to return this, and you have in your shop policies that you don't offer returns, you have a leg to stand on. You can go back and say, well, as a informed buyer, you should have read the shop policies, and done that before. So it gives you just a little bit, not a little bit, it gives you a lot of leg to stand on, to come back to your customer and say, this is what I do, and share your story. Your about section is an often overlooked place for search. And buyers, why we shop on Etsy is because we want to connect with real live people. We want their stories. We want to know why they do what they do and how they got to where they're making and where they get their materials. Put all of those things in. Talk about who helps you ship your products, who helps you design. Even if it is just you, does your cat sit and keep you company? Create this personable about section. Gives people, again, that trust in you, but also gives them something to read and something to stay on your page and connect with you. The longer they stay on your page, the higher your searchability. So you want to make sure that when you're there, when they see your smiling face, when they see your studio space, when they say that they know where their product's coming from, they've made a connection for you before they've ever even purchased. So just, it's a really overlooked, but really, really important thing to use. And even too, if you're picked up by an influencer or a blogger or Google, using your about section, they don't even have to connect with you or contact you. This could save time. If they can, they know they can trust you. And again, like your buyers, it saves a lot of time if you've written and you have all your policies and, you're not writing you, asking you questions. Yeah, so it's really, really important to have those two filled out. And like we said, using your stats to measure your success. Stats make it easy to understand what's performing well in your shop and what listings may need some work. And a really good idea to do to this is, if you're up to it, adding 2 or 3 listings with different keywords. So if you're doing 2 listings of the exact same item, if you can, make 26 keywords. See what words are working best for you and create like a super listing that gets you all of the views by using that. Like, that's just to see what works and what doesn't work, because you may be using half of your really great keywords with one listing and half on the other. So if you can combine them, it's just kind of an experiment to see what best works for you. Consider why your top performing listings are your top performers, and review listings, keywords, photos, prices, and descriptions. Shipping costs are promotions, and be sure to look at the longer time frames when analyzing your statistics. That will give you enough data to collect insights. At least 30 days to look at your stats to see what's going on, and think of dates. When are people right now? My shop is really slow. I sell predominantly items for winter. I'm not going to look at my stats as to what's driving traffic right now, because there isn't a whole lot of traffic. I'm going to look at maybe August when it starts to November and see where it's going. And I often will rejig my listings in that time frame to see that, because I know those are my busiest times. Your customer service, having cases is something that can hurt you. So you want to make sure that you have really great customer service, and it can improve your search ranking, because like we said, Etsy's in the business of making money. Etsy wants their buyers to have really great experiences. So if you give really great experiences to your customers, Etsy's going to reward you with that optimal search ranking. So Etsy search algorithm looks at a shop's customer service history and whether it's in good standing according to Etsy policies when determining search placement. They look at a variety of factors and calculate the score, which they call your customer and market experience score. Getting positive reviews, adding an about section, and having shop policies in place can improve your shop score and your search ranking, while a high case rate and past intellectual property issues can hurt. So as always, don't use copyrighted items. Just don't even, I know a lot of people argue this, that other shops have them. It could be you. So just, be authentic, be yourself, tell your story, and be a really great salesperson and be good to your customers. Even, sometimes I've had items lost in the mail, which I thought were going to be a horrible customer experience. I knew I was going to get a bad review, but following up, checking in with your customers, explaining, when things go wrong or there's been a delay, just that communication can really, really help build trust with your customers. And even if it, is a terrible experience, it still may lead to a 5-star or 4-star review based on how you deal with a situation. So get great reviews with that awesome customer service. Complete your about section, add shop policies, represent your processing times accurately. Make sure your photos accurately represent what you're selling to avoid cases. And if a case is filed against your shop, communicate with a customer and the Etsy staff to swiftly resolve the situation. I know there's been some discontent with not being able maybe to get a hold of Etsy, and I know they're working on that. I actually had a call recently with a seller protection program and how they can do some things, and one of my suggestions was being more available to sellers, because, you know, a lot of these crazy things with shipping delays can be avoided, and it's not the seller's fault and it's not the buyer's fault. And, you know, I think Etsy and people are starting to catch on that, you know, we're doing our best. So having that open communication with Etsy will hopefully bring a stronger sense of trust with sellers, and having the seller protection program in will be something that's really beneficial. And create your own original content. Like, don't, and that goes beyond products that are copyrighted. Don't go and copy somebody else's description and their keywords and their tags. You're just going to get, you know, shown side by side. Be yourself, be authentic, represent your brand's voice, do you. And that's going to get you, you know, your own following of customers. So this is something, if you want to screenshot this is just a recap screen. This video will be available as well, and for rewatch. And I know it's a ton of information to throw out at you, but we just wanted to let you know about adding and how to write those descriptions with those keywords, where to put your keywords, and how to get found, because there is some really, really cool opportunities with being found in Etsy. And I can tell you that from personal experience. And I hope, I'm so incredibly sorry about the confusion at the beginning, and I hope that you felt this went well, even considering everything. And if you have any questions, if you want to get in contact with me, just send me a message, comment here. I am Hazelby on Instagram and on Facebook. My shop is hazelby.ca on Etsy, and you can send me a message on Etsy through the Etsy platform. So if you want to leave any questions in the chat, I am happy to get back to you, to follow up. And like I said, if you want to leave them there and I can address them. Hopefully, we're going to be having some more Etsy workshops coming up in the very near future, and you will join me again. I know they're working on some really cool stuff. The fall trends have just come out, so if you want to have a look at the seller handbook and get prepared for Christmas and the fall season and back to school, I definitely recommend you do that. So thanks for joining in today. And like I said, if you want to get a hold of me through my email on the Etsy page, through this event page, I'm happy to chat with you. If you want to connect with me on Etsy, I look forward to hearing from you. So thanks so much for coming today. And again, I apologize.